Hare Krishna! So I'm back. Sorry it took so long to record a new video. It's just that I have other channels in Portuguese and I have all these courses I teach, and I end up sometimes taking a bit too long to come back and do a video on this channel. So I'm back, and today I want to talk to you about a very important verse from the Bhagavad-gītā. Very important verse where Krishna explains the moment, where actually Arjuna says, the moment that he really switched on, the moment he takes the beginning of his spiritual life, the exact moment your spiritual life starts, you can know with this verse. So we're going to be studying today verse 7 of chapter 2 of the Bhagavad-gītā. So this verse is very important. I'm going to read the verse to you and then I'll explain it. So here it is in Sanskrit, so you can get a bit of a feel of how it sounds in the original. kārpaṇya-doṣopahata-svabhāvaḥ pṛcchāmi tvāṁ dharma-sammūḍha-cetāḥ śiṣyas niścitaṁ brūhi me śiṣyas sadimam tvāṁ prapannam. Let me repeat that. kārpaṇya-doṣopahata-svabhāvaḥ pṛcchāmi tvāṁ dharma-sammūḍha-cetāḥ niścitaṁ brūhi me śiṣyas sadimam tvāṁ prapannam. So in this verse, what's happening is this. This is the beginning of the Bhagavad-gītā. And if you don't know the Bhagavad-gītā, there's 18 chapters. And the first chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā is like a transition from the epic Mahabharata to the spiritual jewel of the Bhagavad-gītā. So in the beginning of the first chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, the war, the famous Mahabharata, the war from the Mahabharata, the Kurukshetra battle is about to begin. It's literally about to begin. Like they're all, the armies are they're all set up already. They're blowing their conch. They would blow their conch, to announce the beginning of the war. Like the Romans would do, like blow trumpets. In the Vedic tradition, they would blow these big conches. So they're blowing their conches. The war is about to begin. But of course, Arjuna is full of doubts. He's having the worst day of his life. He's having a panic attack, a full-blown panic attack. He's completely in total anxiety because this is just too much for him. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy, Arjuna. And this is a battle that divided the family because his cousin, Duryodhana, was actually a very evil being that came down to conquer Earth. That's another story. But anyway, so Duryodhana is like an evil alien, really. So you have Duryodhana, which is his cousin, who takes birth as his cousin. And Duryodhana has convinced all these other people, including even his grandfather and, friends and uncles. So there's people fighting against them. Him, Arjuna, and his 4 brothers, who are called the Pandavas, sons of King Pandu. And so they're having this horrible battle. This is after decades of strife, and the Pandavas are trying to reason with Duryodhana and look, please just let's not do this, let's not go to war, please. Anyway, so it didn't happen. The diplomacy failed. And so there's going to be a battle. And so Arjuna he's just distraught because he doesn't want to fight with cousins and uncles and his grandfather on the other. He doesn't want to, it's horrible. So he's full of doubts. He's just like, what's going on? He doesn't know what to do. And he's miserable and he's complaining to Arjuna, to Krishna, who was with him in the chariot. He's complaining, Krishna, this is this and this is that, and I hate this, and this is so bad, this is so wrong. And he's all confused. So then finally, and Krishna is just kind of sitting there. Like, yeah, right, He's just listening to Arjuna lamenting. Doesn't say anything because Arjuna didn't ask him anything. Very important. Very important. So this is a lesson. Already we can take a lesson from this verse. If somebody doesn't ask you, don't tell them. Just let them be ready. Because if they're not asking you for help, they're not ready to accept your help. That's why you've had this experience so many times in your life where you try to help someone and then you get actually attacked. They attack you back. You've had that, right? And what you're saying is like perfectly wise and good and intelligent, but you get attacked. Did you have that? If you had that, leave a comment. You know, you try to help someone and you just, they slap you in the face. So Krishna, he's wise, he's God, so he's like, yeah, right. So he's not saying anything until Arjuna asks for it. So then finally, verse 7 comes along, and Arjuna says, look, I am just totally confused. I don't know what's best for me. I am distraught. Now, please instruct me. I am your disciple. Tell me what to do, because I don't know what to do. This is the verse, 2:7, where he's saying, okay, I get it. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I want you to help me. I am your disciple. Please instruct me. This act, this is the moment your spiritual life starts. If you haven't had this moment yet, your spiritual life hasn't started. I mean, I had this moment. This moment is very real. It's that moment where you really say, okay, I'm not a smarty pants. I don't know everything. I need help. I'm not going to wing it. I'm not going to just figure life out on my own. I actually need instruction. I'm going to, you really, this is the moment you actually go to a guru and say, not if physically anymore, because today we have videos and books, but inside you're saying, okay, I want to hear this. I want to learn. You don't have to physically, those days are gone. You don't have to physically go somewhere like they used to in the past. You don't have to walk through the mountains and try to find a guru in a cave and say, please. No, you don't have to do that anymore. But there is this moment where internally you're saying, okay, I'm serious. I really want to understand life. I want to understand who I am. Where have I come from? Where am I going? What is the meaning of life? I'm very serious about these questions. I want to be instructed. So then you start reading the Bhagavad-gītā, you take a course, you read books, and you really like, why? Because now you've opened yourself up. Now it's going to happen. Because if you're like, yeah, I know everything. Yeah, I'm all wise. If you're like this, knowledge will just bounce off you. Wisdom, you're going to be like, like water off a duck's back. And wisdom is going to bounce off you like water off a duck's back. That's what pride does. Pride makes you immune to teachings. You cannot take anybody's teachings because you're like, no, I don't need it. I'm all wise. So then you don't learn anything. You could be in front of God himself. That's why God doesn't go showing himself around, because it wouldn't work. God could flash himself right in front of you, just, comes out, hello, I am God. And you're like, yeah, well, I know everything. You can go. So this is the moment when you say, no. You open yourself up, this act of humility, being humble. Arjuna had this. I am confused. You acknowledge, I am confused. Please instruct me. Śiṣyas, please, śiṣyas, give me instructions. That changes everything, because from that moment on, you're like, you're open. You take things in. Now, when you get that book, when you get that course, when you see that video, it's like, whoa, it goes right in. You can feel the light come in, and God is like, whoo, finally, he opened up. And then he gives you all this knowledge. It says in the Bhagavad-gītā in chapter 15, verse 15, Krishna says, I'm in your heart. And from me comes all knowledge. And he says, all the Vedas, all the knowledge comes from me, and I am the object of all this knowledge. The final object, the Vedanta. He says that in chapter 15, verse 15. So from that moment on, not only does it work that you, like when you get a book, when you see a video, when you do a course, when you go to a retreat, all that knowledge comes in and actually takes root within you. But also mystically, God is within you, shining light. Krishna says, I will give you jnana. Krishna says that if you're devoted to me, I will give you jnana. He says that in chapter 10. So then God starts enlightening you. But that has to start with you. And it starts at this point. It starts when you reach this stage that Arjuna reached in verse 7 of chapter 2. It's only when you get to this point that all these great things happening. It's only when you get to this point that you will get like the right videos, you will get the right book, when all these things will come to you by arrangement, by some mystical divine chance. You're like, oh, this book, and his friend gives you a book, and you get this, and YouTube gives you this recommend. Like these things start happening. Synchronicity, because then you're open to it. Very important. So it's a beautiful verse, very important verse, and I'm going to read it to you again, so you get the feel of the Sanskrit again, and then we can end this video. kārpaṇya-doṣopahata-svabhāvaḥ pṛcchāmi tvāṁ dharma-sammūḍha-cetāḥ yāśrayasyam niścitaṁ brūhi me śiṣyas sadimam tvāṁ prapannam. So, if you have any questions, leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, please. That really helps the channel get off the ground. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.